Does that work? Okay, well, my name is Alex. How do I feel? I feel a bit rushed because I went to bed very late and I rushed to be here, and I was planning to do it by the pool and the beautiful uh, west of France, but it's pouring rain. So this is the backup plan. And I'm loving this community, and I'm very excited to facilitate a bit of practice this morning. We'll see what we're going to do. I just want to say a few words. If you allow me to respond to what was shared, some feedback. So first of all, to David, I want to use, if you allow me to use what you shared for everyone. Be very mindful of moments where you are disassociating, when you're not in your body. And one of the ways that we do that in an unconscious way is when you use you instead of I when you talk about yourself. It's quite interesting because we don't realize we do that. But when you say you get up in the morning, you go to your day, and then you do your practice, when you actually mean I get up in the morning, I do my practice. So reminding you to whenever you talk about yourself, to use I statement instead of you. It's subtle, but it also avoids generalizing. When you say, yeah, you're busy, you have things going on, and you don't have time to do these practices. Well, I don't have time to do these practices. I'm in a rush in the morning. So just catching you on that. Maxine,
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for noticing.
here, you're welcome. Maxine, uh, not be do things differently. I think from listening to you and feeling you, you seem to be quite good at being good with your practices. And I think one of the beauty of being humans, and when we want to get different outcomes, is to do things differently. So that's why this idea of this creating habits came, because those are, for most people, habits that we not always have, and bringing them to awareness and all of us and then trying them. What's the best thing about habits and new habits is that they give us opportunities to explore different parts of us. So if you think you're doing things in a routine way and you're really good at that, then break them and see what happens. That includes breath work. Like, let's say you are getting a lot of great results breathing through the mouth, then breathe through the nose. If you like to do anything you like to do in a certain way, and you feel, oh, that's now a complete habit, let's do it differently. Here is something that will resonate with everyone. At the beginning, when you were learning how to drive, whether you drive a bicycle, a scooter, or a car, it required your full presence. And eventually, it became something automatic. And now you can drive, you don't even think about it. You do three other things at the same time. So it became it became an unconscious practice, driving. So if you apply that to other things you do consciously, that's the practice of being conscious. So if you breathe consciously, those are moments where you are present with your breath, where you are present with what you're doing. And then that becomes something that is actually bringing you something. So anything you do and you start to doing in an automatic way, you can break it. A very incredible conscious practice is to brush your teeth using the opposite hand. Something that you do all the time unconsciously, that you've been told that the knife is in the right hand and the fork is in the left hand. I mean, that's the appropriate way to use a knife and a fork. Like how crazy some rules are. So why don't you break the rule for 1 month and you switch hands when you brush your teeth, or you cut your food with your and now using the knife in the left hand, and just see what happens, how present you are with whatever you're cutting. how present you are and appreciative you are of your teeth when you brush your teeth. So bringing consciousness to our everyday life can be as simple as brushing our teeth and cutting our food in a different way, and see what happens. And then all of a sudden you're getting an opportunity to bring consciousness to everyday life. And we hear always those incredible modalities of meditation and breath work. Can you be more conscious when you are going to the toilet? Can you be more conscious when you go to the supermarket? Can you bring consciousness in your everyday life, not to your practice? Because, I have my practice, I'm conscious, very conscious when I do my practice. And then the rest of the time I go about my day exactly doing the same thing over and over. Well, if you want to get a different result, you need to do things differently. And that's what consciousness is all about. Can I bring something different in my, and those modalities, why they are so powerful? Because they will bring consciousness they will remind you of consciousness. And then you will bring consciousness in your interaction with your children all of a sudden, instead of operating automatically, saying the same thing over and over without really bringing awareness to what you are doing. You're just, okay, I'm always saying the same things to my kids. Finish your plate. You have to finish your plate. There are poor kids dying in Africa. You have to finish your plate. Well, so many people finish their plate because they are conditioned by their parents who 50 years ago told them you have to finish your plate because poor kids are dying in Africa. So there is no, but the consequence is they eat too much. So they choose to overeat and they don't feel good, but they are saving children in Africa as a priority. And that doesn't, of course, make any sense when you think about it. If you have an environmental conscious, which you celebrate, then carry a Tupperware with you, and if you don't feel, if in the middle of your meal you can pause, feel into it, especially if you're eating in a restaurant where the portions can be really, really big. And a lot of people, no matter how much food is in their plate, they finish it. They don't eat in order to nourish their bodies. They eat because poor kids are dying in Africa. I have to eat. And it's not because you finish your plate that less children are dying in Africa. So so many narratives, so much conditioning is in our everyday life that are not our own choices, that are just applying what we've been receiving from the matrix, receiving from our parents, from our ancestors, and we justify them because we like to justify ourselves. Yeah, of course, waste is not good. It makes sense. I believe what my parents were saying. Okay, that's but just bringing you the opportunity to make a choice. Not so much telling you need to finish your plate or you need to not finish your plate. But I want you to finish your plate because you decide that you finish your plate and you're hungry and you want to eat more. There is no judgment about finishing the plate. It's just a judgment of who is finishing the plate, the 50-year-old or the 5-year-old who's listening to mommy and daddy. Yeah. And we can apply that to really, really, absolutely everything. Like I was listening to I promise you after that we're going to practice because I can go on forever. But like I was listening to a podcast on parenting, big topic. Of course, my kids are growing up, they're adolescents, so I'm always looking for guidance. And there was a podcast on the concept of timeout, which is the big thing in education. A child is behaving in a certain way that we don't like, and then what a lot of parents do, and I have it myself, is to tell the kid, okay, you misbehave, rule. And when you will behave in the way I want you to behave, then you are welcome. When we are introducing timeouts, what we are telling our children is surrender your freedom to an authority. This is what we are teaching. When they behave the way the parents say, then this is good. But if they disagree and they want to behave in
You disappeared.
We're back. So let's work here and okay, we're back. Waiting for everyone to just tune in back in. Got me, guys? No? What do I do? Let's get the Wi-Fi.
Wow.
Oh, okay, I'm back. No, yes, I'm back.
Yes,
Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, and guess what? The rain has stopped, so I can go to a different spot. Give me a second. This looks. It's gonna be a. Okay. Is that going? Let's do that 1 second.
What's happening?
Just Wi-Fi problems. Just give me 5 seconds.
All right.
Okay, you can hear me? Yeah. Okay, so just to finish on that, when we are telling our kids that when they behave in a certain way, we reject them, because that's what it is. It's really the problem with the timeout is that you are telling the children the connection is lost. We lose the connection. It's not about telling them what's right or wrong. You can have your opinion, but the disconnection is the problem. Is to send them to their room and telling them, I don't want to be with you. So you lose the attachment. So that's how you create anxious attachment for adults later. And you are also conditioning children to surrender their free will to an authority. And then we are complaining that we are not free, that we are just obeying authorities. But this is really coming from conditioning and parents doing it with the best intentions. All that to say that we need to do things differently and to bring consciousness in everyday life, in every moment, and not specifically in the practice. And I see a lot of people bring that. I would also love to hear people bringing consciousness in other aspects of their life, not necessarily just in the routine and in the habits that we are sharing. Okay, one last thing. I heard a lot of people, it's probably the number one by far topic in this group, which is fasting, food fasting. So I am inviting a specialist to do a lecture on food fasting on Wednesday. So we'll have 8 o'clock on Wednesday, a talk, which will also be recorded. So you can all ask your questions in the group. I'll mention that also. So you can all ask your written questions, and then he will come. He's a graduate of Breathing Call. He's done my training. Dave, Italian guy, who has an incredible story. He was really, really overweight. He'll share his story, and he almost died. And he had an operation on his stomach and had a ring, and completely saved and turned around his life through food fasting. So he has an incredible story, and now has dedicated his life to these modalities. He's now bringing also breathwork as a modality, but his expertise is really around fasting. So I thought it would be better to bring a specialist on this topic, since there's so many questions. All right, guys. Does anyone have any question before we practice?
Alex, I have a question about anger. Since I joined the 2 days workshop with you in Ubud this month or last month, I don't even know anymore. Like, how do you deal with anger? What's a good way to express anger? I rediscovered this emotion for me, so I'm struggling a bit to deal with anger the last days?
Yeah, and that leads me to actually say something I forgot to say about Shreya. I don't know if you're still with us, Shreya. So Shreya mentioned that she was breathing and was overwhelmed and cried during the breathing. So she stopped and now taking it back. So for me, there is this concept of needing to be in control and not letting her. And I think it's a bit the same with Dennis. Is all of a sudden I'm being flooded with a strong emotion, and I want to deal with it. I want to deal with anger. I want to deal with the crying. And I think that's the problem. That's the mistake. To think that you have to deal with something. I think the secret of life is to allow emotions to come and to get out of the way rather than wanting to control. And I think if a sadness is coming, an urge to release through crying is coming, or if an anger is coming, and there is the necessity to allow it to come and to let it pass through you. You are not an angry person. You're expressing anger. You are feeling anger. And the problem is, in our society, in our culture, we are being told that some emotions are great and we want to feel them and they are welcome, and others are not welcome. So, oh, I love you when you're smiley and you're pretty and you behave, then that's okay. That's the kind of behavior we want to see out there. But when you are misbehaving, when you are not talking in a nice way, then we are not welcome. So we've been conditioned to really welcome certain emotions, and others are not being received by our prime caretakers. It's usually our parents with the best intentions. They don't cry, or don't be sad. Here is a lolly. Don't be sad. I don't want you to cry. I want you to be happy. I'm here to make you happy. This is the insane way we are raised by unconscious parents who just want our best. Yeah. But at the same time, they teach us to repress our emotions. So, Shreya, if you are crying, if emotions are coming that are overwhelming you, let yourself be overwhelmed. And don't judge yourself for that. And then if anger is coming, be like be and the beauty of emotions is that they pass. And the more you repress it, the more they grow and they boil. And maybe what you are feeling, guys, is years of repressed emotions that are coming to the surface, and feel, oh my God, but if I let my anger out, I won't be able to control it. It's going to be completely overwhelming. Or if I really feel my emotions, I'm going to cry for 7 days in a row, and I need to work. I need to function. And I have a family, I have work, I have things to do.
Exactly.
Well, but you have to choose yourself first, because the problem is, if you suppress emotions, they will eat you from the inside. That's what diseases are. That's what cancer is. That's what autoimmune diseases are, when your body is working against you. So this is really no small thing. So you really need to choose yourself first and allow yourself to feel your feelings and your emotions. Now, I can tell you how I practice it. I go 100%. So when I feel anger, I give myself permission to feel anger 100%. I don't have a small release of anger. I really go full on, but I do it in a conscious way. It says, okay, if I'm with my partner and she says something that's triggering me and I'm really angry, or I'm with my children or my parents, I retrieve myself from the connection. So I take space. I says, okay, I'm feeling anger right now. I'm gonna remove myself from, and I'll be back. So I'm making a conscious decision and then I go into a safe space. Can be by the river, can be in my room, can be in a space where I can really allow myself to feel it. And then I feel it 100%. I cry, I scream, and I allow myself to feel it. But sometimes I go to Pilates class. And in my workout, I teach people how to breathe through the nose all the time. But then, for once, I will scream. Ah, as I'm working out, I will allow myself to scream. And everybody's laughing around me, and then they go, because on every exhale, I do a release, I do a release, I do a release. But that's the secret. Eventually, it passes. Eventually, the sadness slows down. The feeling, is leaving the body. The emotion gets to be finally released. And then I can become the observer. And that's the next step. It says, oh, that's interesting. I felt anger. Can I be with that feeling of why I felt so much anger? Most of the time, it's related of something from the past. So now you can now change your relationship with your emotions to appreciate that they are messengers. It says, oh, I'm here getting, the emotion is a gateway to my soul. I have access to something that I have not addressed, that I have not processed, that it's coming to the surface. Can I be with it? 99% is related to your parents, of something that from the past that you didn't give yourself. And you're angry at your partner because she did something absolutely horrendous. But if you give it enough space, you will appreciate that it's only part of the story. There is something that is nothing to do with your partner. Leave the other person alone, bring it back to yourself, and then all of a sudden you're accessing something way more interesting, which is you and what it says about you. And that's, for me, a conscious relation to anger or to sadness. But don't shy away from the emotions, and welcome them as they are.
Thank you, Alex, for your response. I want to add something to this. So what happened last time? I gave this 100% space, and I was smashing the shit out of the mattress, and I hurt myself. I was like, something was blocked in my neck. I was like, the anger took totally control over me, and I'm trying to find a way to express this in a way that is not taking control over me, and I'm not hurting myself. And then the other way is what you just said, like you retrieve yourself from this situation. And I was thinking about this yesterday. I mean, when we are sad, we can cry. When we are happy, whatever, we laugh. But
I can laugh.
yes, I can laugh. I can laugh. I can cry if I'm sad, and I can do this in public around other people. But I think anger is something, I don't know, like a taboo topic. Like I have to retrieve myself to scream. I don't know. I don't. This is hard. This is hard for me to navigate with that.
Yes, Denise. I mean, if you're open, I can give you feedback because you were in my workshop. But you have the nice guy syndrome, So you that's your problem. So for you, it's to observe that, okay, I have the nice guy syndrome and the people pleaser syndrome, and that's all of a sudden, if I get angry, that's not nice. Well, be with that, because one of the rule of life is fuck everyone. Leave everyone alone and do your thing. But there is the problem, Denise, with choosing that to feel some emotions and not others, that it doesn't work. You cannot say, oh, I can feel sadness, that's okay, and I cannot feel anger. Because if you're not feeling anger, you're not going to feel joy. That's the same channel. That's why you need to feel anger. It's not for any other reason. It's joy, love, receiving everything is coming from the same channel. Now, I want to correct what I said, because I said something wrong. I said you needed to give it 100%. That's not true. You need to give it a 95%. You need to keep 5% of consciousness of not hurting yourself and not hurting others. So if you're hitting the pillow, if you're screaming and releasing, you need to be aware that, okay, how's my neck? How's my body? Am I hurting my feet? So you need to keep 5% of, okay, I'm still in control of what's going on. So that's the correction. You need to be keeping yourself and others safe around you as you're having a release. Yeah, so that's not 100%. But if it's years of suppression, don't expect to solve it in days. Give it space also. It's been a long time that you've accepted things that were not okay. You know what is anger? Anger is the same as boundaries. It's a healthy boundary. You know what is another thing that is a part of the boundary is the immune system. People who have anger problems, who don't get angry, they have poor immune system and they get sick more often because they let things in. If you annoy a dog, what is the dog is going to do? It's going to, even if it's your dog and it's your favorite animal, if you start putting finger in the ear or in the mouth of the dog, it's going to, you know, it's going to show some anger. And it's going to, okay, well, that's too close. Now, you know, you don't put the finger in the ear of the dog, if, you know, and that's natural way and the healthy way for the animal to express his boundaries. But if you have the syndrome of the nice guy and you've let your boundaries be crossed over and over by your parents, by your partners, by everybody, because if I am nice enough, I'm going to be finally loved. Finally, I'm going to be fully received because that's how I've been conditioned, that to be loved, I have to be nice. You've not put yourself as a priority. You've put someone else as a priority. And you need to choose yourself first. And my friend, that's a game changer. This will change your life. Like I can relate to you, Denise. I was the same. I was the same. Yeah, I didn't have access to anger. I was completely giving my power away over and over. But I've lost all my relationships as a result of that. It doesn't work. No one wants to be with someone who, at the end, we don't know what they feel. It's way more safe to be with someone that's, yeah, it's not okay, it's expressing it. And I apply it with my kids because that's the kind of lessons I want to pass on. So I never choose my kids first. I choose myself first. If I don't want to do something, I don't care now who is on the other side. I don't care. I don't want to do it. I don't do it. That's it. And then this is the lessons for my children. Oh, when my dad doesn't want to do something, he doesn't do it. So what are my kids going to do? They're going to mirror me. They're not going to do what I say. They're going to exactly do what I do. So now I'm teaching them that, okay, set your boundaries. If you don't want to do something, don't do it. I rather teach them that because you know what? This is one of the, you know, okay, let's say something like let's be real for a minute. I worked with 6,000 people plus over the years. 80% are women. 90% have experienced some kind of sexual misuse or abuse. And for me, and what is the narrative in our society? Oh, we need to teach the boys. We need to teach the boys better. That's what you hear in our culture, in our society. There's something wrong with men, and we need to teach them better. How about teaching your daughters how to honor themselves before honoring someone else? How about teaching your daughters that they can choose themselves, and instead of imposing your godparent opinion on your children, say, you do what I say, I know better, I'm your parent, and if you do what I say, everything's fine. What you are teaching your children when you do that is that they need to surrender to someone else. So they are not able to set boundaries, and they don't know how to say no. How do you expect a child to say no to another man if you as a dad, you tell them they cannot tell no to you? That's the root cause of the problem. And I think if we constantly, and that's the biggest problem in our society, we blame others. There is a problem with men, and we don't take responsibility. And it's way easier to feel that, oh, and look at the world. It's racism everywhere. It's the right extremists everywhere, because it's easy. Let's blame men for the physical misuse and abuse. But let's be real for a minute. There is two to tango, and there is also the issue of women who are people pleasers and who have had sex so many times with people they didn't want to have sex with. That's misuse. And then then the next day they will be angry at the other person. What they're also very angry about is their parents and themselves for not having the tools to say no. So here is another habit. You need to practice saying no. You need to practice saying yes. And you know how you do it? If someone says, hey, let's go for pizza. Then you take a breath, you feel into it, and you decide if you're going for pizza because you want a pizza or because you want to please the other person. Am I meeting my friend because I want to meet my friend or because I want to be a nice friend? And I really don't want to meet that friend. But my friend says, oh, let's go for a drink. Let's go to this opera. Oh my God, I hate opera, but I really want to be nice to this friend. It's the same story. We need to teach our children that when it's yes, it's a full yes. And when it's no, it's a full no. And that's a very important habit that we need to take. And that's one you can take away from today. Learn the practice of conscious breath. And it goes like that. And that conscious breath is something you can do before making any decision. And do it for the pizza question, so that when someone says, hey, do you want to go for a drink? Do you want another beer? Do you want to marry me? Do you want to take that job? Instead of saying yes because he's the right person, he's the right fit, he has the right salary, she's very beautiful, and it's my parents will be happy if I take that job, etc., etc. You actually get out of your head and you start doing things differently, and you go into your body and to feel what is the resonance and whether you want to do something or not. And with that, you will start operating from your truth and use that as a barometer. And you will start living your life and you will stop bypassing. So that's my 2 cents on anger and feeling emotions. Okay, let's do some breathing, guys. So I'll guide you through a little breath journey today. So let's close our eyes. And let's take a moment to just be with the breath. A little practice. Every time a thought is coming, just raise your hand to interrupt it and bring yourself back to the breath. Let's take a few minutes just with the breath, without trying to control the breath, without guiding the breath, just observing the breath. And every time a thought is coming, interrupt it with just raising your hand and bringing yourself back to the breath. And I'm doing the same. I invite you to be curious with your breath and observe, where is my breath? Is it low? Is it high? Is it shallow? Is it deep? Can you qualify your breath? Just observe your breath and qualify it. How's my breath? And appreciate that as soon as you are observing the breath, you're modifying the breath. That it's very hard to be the observer of the breath. We immediately change it just with our awareness. And just now observe your heart rate. How's my heart going? Is my heart beating in a regular way? Can I observe each heartbeat and qualify my heartbeats? And take a moment to really feel incredible gratitude for this heart that is beating, this breath that is moving in and out. Just have a moment of just appreciating the magic of our bodies, of how the breath and how the heart work. And now observe how the breath and the heart collaborate. What's the connection between my heart and my breath? Just again, appreciate if they are working together or not. And now consciously try to prolong your inhale and your exhale. Can I bring my breath to different parts of my body? How long, how slow, how deep can I breathe? And with every breath, can I prolong my inhale and prolong my exhale, making your inhale and your exhale the same length? And just observe what's happening to your heart as you're now consciously slowing down the inhale and slowing down the exhale. And can you slow it down even more? Can you breathe without moving anything? Can I breathe in for 30 seconds? Can I breathe out for 30 seconds? How slow, how long, how deep can I breathe? Knowing that I can always slow down even more. And observe your heart rate. Has it changed from the first moment you observed your heart rate? Has anything changed and shifted by slowing down your breath? How's my heart going? and appreciate how the breath and the heart collaborate. How your breath is the remote control to your heart. The remote control to your thoughts. Maybe some emotions are bubbling, and appreciate how your breath is the remote control to your emotions. And I invite you now, without modifying your breath, to close your right nostril and breathe only through your left nostril. In and out through your left nostril. And just observe the flow of air coming in and out through your left nostril, and try to qualify it. And then close now your left nostril, breathing only through your right nostril. And observe the quality of your breath as you only breathe through your right nostril. And is it different? Is there a difference between my right nostril and my left nostril? How interesting is that? And is there a correlation between the breathing through one nostril and my heartbeat? And then be playful now, exploring breathing through one nostril or the other nostril and observing what it does to my heart if I only breathe through the right or if I only breathe through the left. So take a few breaths through one nostril and a few breaths through the other nostril, and at the same time be the observer of your heart rate. Is one nostril more activating than the other? And now can you try to breathe through one nostril but without closing the other nostril? Just consciously, without using your hands, can you breathe consciously only through the right nostril? And then only through the left nostril. And now bring your awareness to your right and left lung. And consciously, can you breathe through your, feel first your right lung, then your left lung. What happens if I really bring my awareness to feeling in only my right lung? And as you do that, appreciate what is moving in my rib cage and how my ribs are moving. How is my chest moving? How are my ribs moving? And now consciously try to breathe to an area where you never breathed before. Can I breathe in my back? Can I feel the expansion of my shoulder blade and my back? Can I create space with my breath through my back? Take a few moments and a few breaths now to play with your breath, sending your breath consciously to different parts of your lungs, the back, the right side, expanding the chest in the front, and then going to the left, and just appreciate and feel the gratitude for these incredible lungs that you have. How much air has been filtrated over the years, 25,000 times, sometimes a day. Have you ever thought about that? And appreciate your lungs. Now consciously take short inhales and prolonged exhales. So just enough to take air in, but really, 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 really long exhales. And then back a bit, little air in, and long and long and long and long exhales. And again, observe what it does. I'm going to do that a bit more. What it does to your heart. How's my heart going? How's my heart compared to when I started? And appreciate how when we bring consciousness and awareness to our breath, it really, really changes our heart. Let's do a breath hold together. So we're gonna just appreciate the length of our breath hold. So just everyone, normal inhale, normal exhale, and hold your breath. And come back to normal breathing if you have at the maximum of your breath hold. Now we're gonna do 10 really strong breath in and out, and then again a breath hold after the last exhale. And just appreciate now the new length and duration of our exhale, and when we are consciously modifying our breath, how it's impacting the length of our breath hold. So join me, fully in and out through the mouth. Open your mouth, inhale. 3 more. Last one, full in. Exhale and hold. And then come back to normal breathing if you're done with your breath hold, and appreciate how you extended your breath hold way more just by taking 10 connected breaths, how it's impacted your length of your breath hold. And just come back to normal breathing. And just observe also your heart after the 10 strong breath and the breath hold, what it does to your heart rate. Now let's bring some sounds on the exhale. So we're going to take inhales. I'm going to mute here. We're going to take inhales and then make sounds on the exhale. We're going to do some humming. So it's keep going, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through humming. Let's do that a few rounds. Come back to normal breathing, just observing your inner state, how it affects you. Now I'm going to guide you through a little rest journey to alternative nostril breathing. So bring 2 fingers to your forehead and then inhale through both nostrils. Exhale through the nose, both nostrils. Inhale both nostrils. Close the right, exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Accelerate. Right. Accelerate. And now we are changing. Inhale right. Exhale left. Again, inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale right. Exhale left. Now the other side. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale left. Exhale right. Now we change again. Inhale right. Hold at the top. Exhale left. Hold at the bottom. Inhale left. Hold. Exhale right. Inhale right. Hold. And now we're going to prolong the exhale. Exhale left, longer. Hold. Inhale left. Hold. Exhale right, longer. Hold. Inhale right. Hold. Exhale left. Hold. Inhale left. Hold. Exhale right. Come back to normal breathing. Hands down. Just observe. How's my state? How's my heart? How do I feel? What are my thoughts? Just take a moment of awareness of what's happening for you. No judgment, just observation. You're welcome to stay in meditation now. my intention is for you to appreciate your breath and to fall in love with the breath. I feel that breath is my best friend. It's always there. No matter what happens in my life, if I have a relation with my breath, I know I have a relation to life. I have access to my thoughts. I can modify my thoughts. I can modify my emotions. I always have control over my breath. And I consciously can choose to not take control of my breath. But developing that relationship with the breath, no matter what, is magical, and it's giving us access to so much. All right, friends. I think that's plenty for today. Giving you some space to now really receive and enjoy. Have a beautiful rest of now. Goodbye. And